Hey everybody, it's Alex from Alex and Erika's channel, and today we're going to talk about 3 ports if you're taking a cruise along the Mexican Riviera: Cabo, Puerto Vallarta, and Mazatlan. So be sure to check out this video. So let's start with Mazatlan. Mazatlan is one of our favorite places to visit. I know I say that about a lot of places we go to, but Mazatlan really is. Don't let people deter you from getting off the ship. A lot of times people pull into the port and they see it's very industrial and they don't want to get off the ship. They say, I'm going to stay on the ship that day. Also, they hear things about crime and safety, but we've never had an issue. We've been to Mazatlan a dozen times. We've always had a great time. We've spent weeks in Mazatlan on regular vacations, and we've spent many cruise days there on our cruises. So what we typically do in Mazatlan, there's a couple options. At the pier, we'll usually do a tour with Julian, who is with the Red Trucks. He's a great guy, and depending on how big your group is, you can do multiple trucks with him. Each of his trucks will fit like 6 to 8 people. He'll show up, he's got a cooler, got some beers or drinks or whatever it is you guys prefer. He also has access to some of the Pulmonías, which are the open air cabs, which are super fun. You see them all over Mazatlan. So if you're a smaller group, like just 2-3 people, that might be a good option for you too. But we'll typically start off with him. We'll go out to the cliff divers. We'll make a stop there. That's always fun. They do require a donation for them to do a dive, but the cliff divers are always worth seeing. And then after that, we'll head into town. We'll go to Old Mazatlan or Plaza Machado. There's a lot of colonial buildings there, really a lot of charming cafes. A lot of times in the square, there's like a flea market that's happening. There's a big market there in Mazatlan, also nearby. So that's a lot of fun. Check out the church. And then after that, we'll usually spend time going over to the Golden Zone. The Golden Zone is a really lively area. Now between that, if you're doing a tour with Julian or someone else, you can go horseback riding, you can do some tequila tasting. There's a ton of options that you can take advantage of. We've done a little bit of everything in Mazatlan. We'll usually go to the Golden Zone. It's a great area to walk around. We'll go to the beach. A lot of times we'll find a great restaurant to eat some lunch or seafood at, and then we'll spend the afternoon at the beach, like over close or at the Las Flores Hotel. That hotel will usually give you access to use the pool in their facilities as long as you buy a few drinks or buy some food from them. But it's also in a very great like central location, and there's a lot of walking, a lot of shopping right there in that area. If you don't want to do that in the morning, you could always take they have this little water taxis that take you across the canal where the cruise ship is, and you can go over to Stone Island. Stone Island is also a nice option. Although there's not as many services over there, we typically will spend more time over in Mazatlan in the Golden Zone. But Stone Island is also an option, and it's very easy and accessible and inexpensive if you're looking for something simple to do. And when you get off the cruise ship, don't be overwhelmed. There's a lot of vendors there. If you don't have anything booked in advance, you could book something the day of. I'll put contact information in the description of this video for Julian and some of the vendors we use in all the ports. So be sure to check that out. But otherwise, get off the ship and take advantage of something. There's a blue line that you can follow along the street, and that's a long walk. If you don't want to spend any money, you can just walk that blue line and walk all the way around Mazatlan. It's going to take you a few hours, but you might find that an enjoyable walk. But Mazatlan doesn't require a lot of money. It's probably one of the stops that you're going to make where things are a little bit more affordable, and is one of our favorite spots. So Mazatlan is always a great time. Next up is Puerto Vallarta. Puerto Vallarta, again, another one of our favorite spots where Erika and I originally met when we were teenagers. We spent a lot of time there on vacations. We've also spent a lot of time there cruising. We typically do 2 things in Puerto Vallarta. One is we'll do a half-day tour. You can decide what kind of half-day tour you want to do. You can book it through the cruise line. You can book it in advance. We use Vallarta Adventures a lot. The last time we were in Puerto Vallarta a few months ago, we did a razor tour up through the jungles, and it has a big rope bridge that you drive across. It was super fun. The kids loved it. Little pricey, but again, a really enjoyable, unique experience. And so that might be something you want to do. The other option, the other type of tour is typically like a half-day tour out snorkeling, out to Los Arcos or one of the beaches. We've done that on catamarans. We've done that on the old pirate ship that they have there. You can, again, book that through your cruise line, book it through Vallarta Adventures, or last minute, if you're there the day of the port, you can book it through someone at the port. That's what we'll typically do. And then they'll drop us off down somewhere in that area of like the romantic zone or down by Los Muertos Beach. Also, I forgot to mention, when the cruise ship comes into Puerto Vallarta, you're docked right there. Across the street is a Walmart. Walmart is very convenient if you need to get any things that you forgot. If you want to buy a tequila or alcohol, that's going to be your cheapest option to buy it. So you can walk across. But then from there, when you exit the cruise ship terminal, if you're not doing a half-day excursion, you can take Uber. There's taxis, Ubers, but I would suggest that you take one outside the terminal. It's going to be cheaper. Uber is very affordable in Mexico. But again, travel in pairs, go in groups, especially if you're female. I wouldn't suggest going around by yourself, although it is a very safe area. Just use common sense, just as if you were back home. So again, whether you did a half-day tour or not, what we typically do is after our tour, we'll go down to the romantic zone, or also known as the beach area. It's called Los Muertos Beach. We'll hang out there. There's a lot of bars there along the beach area where we can rent a couple chairs, umbrellas, hang out there for a few hours, enjoy the water, enjoy the beach. And then in the afternoon, we'll walk back along the Malecón, which is the boardwalk. And the thing that's always nice with Puerto Vallarta is most cruise ships are there for like from 8 in the morning, 8 at night, or 9 in the morning, 9 at night. 10, 12 hours. Just make sure you stay on ship time. Most cruise lines will tell you to stay on ship time. Ship time is usually 1 hour ahead when you're in Puerto Vallarta, but confirm that when you get off the ship. Make sure you keep track of that. And then when you're done with your boardwalk, your walk along the Malecón, you can take an Uber from there. You can walk all the way back up. There's a McDonald's there in the corner, and then usually from that McDonald's, we'll just take an Uber back to the cruise ship terminal, and then we'll head back to the ship. So Puerto Vallarta, beautiful spot, beautiful people, great seafood. Make sure you try to plan in advance. Do your half-day tour if you can. Go to the beach, the boardwalk in the afternoon, and enjoy all that Puerto Vallarta has to offer. And then Cabo. Cabo is easy, but a little bit of a challenge in some ways. So Cabo is a tender port. So Cabo is where your cruise ship is going to be anchored out in the bay. Then you're going to have to take the little boats, the little lifeboats, tender boats, but Cabo has their own tenders. They're called Cabo tenders. And so you're going to use those, which are nice because they usually have a larger capacity. Find out in advance how your cruise line is going to disperse those tender tickets, because getting off the ship in Cabo can be a challenge. So if you have like status on some of these cruise lines, you might have priority to getting those tender tickets. Find out what the policy is. Be ready to go first thing in the morning or whenever you can get off the ship, because getting ahead of that big rush in Cabo can really help save you some time, because getting off the ship, even when Cabo is using they've got 15, 16 of their own Cabo tenders, getting off the ship can be a little bit of a headache when, on some of these larger ships. When you exit your Cabo tender in the Marina right there, you're going to see a lot of vendors, a lot of people trying to sell you stuff. You can book this in advance. I'll put a link to a tour guide that we use in the description of this video. What we typically do is we'll take like a glass bottom boat. We'll take one of the smaller water taxis out to the Arc. And then also, depending on how rough the sea is, you can go to Lovers Beach. It's a really beautiful beach. There's really no services there, but it's just a place for you to get off, spend 10, 15 minutes, take some photos, go out to the Arc. If you want to do snorkeling, you can do snorkeling. It's a great area right there around the Arc. And it's pretty inexpensive. You can, if you don't have a pre-planned excursion, I'd suggest just negotiating with them in advance. And then usually what we'll do after we've gone out to the Arc or Lovers Beach, instead of having them return to the port area, we'll have them just go across the bay to Medano Beach. Medano Beach is an area there where you'll see there's a bunch of beach bars along the water there, a lot of vendors. And so we'll usually hang out there in the afternoons. They'll try to sell you the round trip fare to get your Cabo tender or your water taxi back to the cruise port in the afternoon. I'd suggest just avoid it, just pay, because finding that water taxi in the afternoon can be a real challenge. So just pay, end your tour, whatever you're going to do there at Medano Beach. In the afternoon, there's going to be 50, 100 water taxis. They all start to come over when they know you need to get back to the cruise ship. And so it's rather easy to get on one. The alternative, if you give yourself some additional time, is to walk back along the Marina. which is actually not a bad walk. It's a nice walk, and then you can walk along the marina and you can enjoy some of the restaurants and bars there, right there by the cruise ships. But that's what we typically do in Cabo. Also, you'll see a big line in the afternoon start to form. So you want to get back on the cruise ship through those water taxis. So what you want to do is you want to get ahead of that line, or you want to just fall back and give yourself plenty of time. We'll usually do some shopping right there around the pier, or we'll hang out and grab a drink at one of the bars. And then when we see that line start to die down, we'll jump in line to get back on the cruise ship. So Cabo is a great option. And I think the key is just getting ahead of that big rush in the morning when you're getting out, finding out how they're going to disperse those tender tickets so you can get ahead of that big crowd. But other than that, Cabo is a great spot. Other things you can do are like sport fishing, whale watching. If you think about whale watching, depending on the time of the year, I think Puerto Vallarta is probably your best bet. But there's some great places to play golf in Cabo. There's some great areas where you can go out fishing. You'll see some beautiful fishing boats there in the marina. So that's a quick overview for Mazatlan, Puerto Vallarta, and Cabo. So hopefully you found that video helpful. If you have any questions, leave your questions below. I'll put links in the description of this video with contact info and other useful information that you might find beneficial. So again, enjoy your cruise to the Mexican Riviera, and we'll talk to you soon.